I was in the studio with an artist recently and we were working on a track together. He was messing around, throwing some ideas around on guitar, and I was working on piecing it together in Logic. And he said to me something like, man, I just love how you work so fast. You don't get stuck in the details. You just get stuff done. I was thinking, like, is that true? I feel like I've got so many songs that are unfinished, but maybe he's right. So I thought, if he is right, why don't I put it to the test? And I thought I would make a video where I finally finish a song that I've been sat on for 4 years, which has been in the production process for a long time. And today I'm going to finally show you how I finish it up. So in this video, I'm going to show you my production process. I'll show you the basic demo that was sent to me by the artist initially and the things that I typically do to take that to a finished, done pop song. I'll share with you my process and the kind of decisions that I make throughout in order to get a track finished. A lot of the footage that you'll see in this video is actually shot in my previous production studio. I started making this video a couple of months ago, and like literally the day after I shot the first batch of footage, I got an email from the landlord saying that he was deciding to kick us out of the studio, which was super helpful. But more on that later on. So if you're wondering why a lot of the footage in this video is shot in a totally different space, then that's why. But these are the challenges that we face when making records. So this is a song called New Day by Kate Lomas, and this song is very much still in the production process. I am still legitimately working on this as I'm sharing it with you, but this is the first version of the song that I ever heard. This is Kate's original Logic demo, and this is what she sent to me, and it sounds like this.
Catching all the feels, and my soul run. You say that I'm strange, but that's okay. Living's just the same. It's just harder since you went away.
And let me skip forward to the chorus so you get a feel for exactly where it's going.
Rain clouds, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, hey, it's a new day, and we run away. Take a ride in the summer, sipping OJ. Trace the sky like a jet plane. I could be alright laying here. Can you promise that you stay away?
So you can hear there's a lot going on there. It's quite dense. There's a lot of layers. My feeling when I heard it was like, there's something really cool in here, but to me it felt like it perhaps wasn't the right mood at the moment. The song is called New Day, and the vibe of the song is very much about like starting fresh. There's a positivity to it, but I felt like the production was cold. It was kind of a bit sad and a bit down tempo, and I wanted to bring something different to this. So my vision for this was to turn it into something that was kind of sunnier sounding, a bit warmer, more nostalgic, that still had an element of reflection and sort of melancholic feel to it, but ultimately the message was uplifting and it would bring a sort of sense of positivity when that chorus came. So the next thing we did was to get in a rehearsal room, myself, Kate, and Jack Moore, who's Kate's bass player. He's also a really good drummer. And we got together just to throw some ideas around onto this track in a live environment and just see what comes out. I also wanted to rework the chords because I felt like the chord progression wasn't doing enough to lift the track up. So we just made some tweaks to the chord progression and then just threw down some like lead parts that were uplifting, some live drums on it, and a couple of other bits. And we ended up with this.
Since you went away, are you even there? In my sex dreams, do you even care? Can you catch me? I'm a little lost, and I'm homesick. I don't wanna call, 'cause you're finding all them new kicks now.
You can hear it's ropey, it's live, it's raw, but it's coming together in a way that it feels more uplifting now. It feels like it's moving more towards the message that I was talking about. It feels warmer. It doesn't feel as cold and as dark as that first demo. And I think it's really important when you're producing and you're working on music is to have that in mind, have your end goal in mind. What's the mood? What's the thing that you're trying to get the listener to feel? And for me, that was the main thing I wanted to come away from this track with, was a sense of a kind of feeling of relief and positivity. A lot of that is actually down to this guitar part that Jack played in this live situation, which is where it's really important to have different people coming in and giving different opinions, I think, because collaboration is the thing that sort of opens up your mind. And in this case, Jack was playing this part on guitar and it sounded like this with no processing on. I think there was like a shimmer verb and like a boss delay pedal, and he was just playing some arpeggios that were, it was really just noodling. It wasn't anything definite, but it had this feel to me that made it feel completely different. It totally changed the feeling of the track. But then I felt like what it needed probably was a bit more rhythm, so we're adding some tremolator here from Sound Toys. Some spreader to widen it up. Then some EQ just to take out all of this stuff below 400, 300 hertz. Some LA3A compression just to level it out, keep it a bit tighter. And then we're adding in some one knob pumper from Waves on the beginning of every bar, so it starts to have this rhythm to it. And then it starts to kind of form this uniform groove with this main synth part, which was on Kate's original demo, which is this. You can hear now it's starting to gel together and everything is kind of developing this uniform groove, which I think is really important in production, is to think about what is the like overall pocket, what's the place where everything is playing off of each other. And that totally changed the feel and transformed the vibe of that original demo that I played you earlier that felt much colder and much more static. So anyway, the track kind of stayed that way for a long time. We left it where it was with that production and it just sat on a hard drive for a long time. And I felt like I'd come back to it every now and again, but every time I came back to it, I felt like I was trying to change it too much. And I was almost trying to start again every time. And that just wasn't what the track needed. I needed to pick it up from where I'd left off, because it's so easy to feel like you need to rip it up and start again and be excited by something new. And really what you just need to do is figure out what's there, what's working, and how you can improve it. And then eventually when you run out of ways to improve it, you've probably finished the track. So I messaged Kate and I said, look, I want to get this track finished. I love New Day. I want to finish it. Now is the time. Come to the studio. And I actually did post a video a couple of months ago of us working on the vocal production process for this track, which you can check out as well. I'll leave a link to that up in the top corner or wherever it goes. And you can check that video out. I break down the whole process for producing the vocal for this song. So once we've got the vocal right, I just import that into the Logic session so that we're working with that, and then we can build everything up on top of that with the context of that finished lead vocal. So for me, the next thing was, let's get the bass line right. I feel like the bass line that's on the demo is pretty cool, but it's not quite how I wanted it to be. I wanted the track to have this uplifting sort of forward motion feel to it, and because it's quite a samey song that has the same rhythm all the way through, it doesn't change a great deal in terms of dynamic. The little details, like in the bass line, changing the bass line all the time, having a different groove going on in the verse to what's going on in the chorus, and having different fills going into different places. It's subtle stuff underneath that's going to help with the forward momentum of the track, keep the listener engaged, and not make it feel like this really long samey thing that just sort of repeats and repeats and repeats. So the way I set this up was to run my Fender P-Bass through an Ampeg bass amp, and then that's mic'd up using a Bee's Knees B87, which is a Neumann U87 copy that I love the sound of, particularly on bass, sounds really good. I'm also using a DI signal straight out of the bass amp, and then I'm also adding a room mic, which is just a really cheap T-Bone RB500, I think it is. Really cheap, inexpensive ribbon mic just in the room to pick up some general roominess. And then we're going to record those 3 tracks down simultaneously at the same time. We might not end up using the room mic or the DI or the 87. We might just use one. We might use a combination, but it's good to have all 3. It just gives us some options later on. So once I had the bass line down, I started to feel like the song is now shaping up. It's getting closer to what I want it to feel like. It's got a bounce to it. It's a bit more joyful. It's a long way away now, away from that sort of cold, sad sounding demo that it started as, and it's getting much closer to the vision that I have for the song. But what I wanted to do was bring even more of that joy to it. And I felt like if I thought about how I pictured the song, I see it as in the summer, in a field, maybe sat underneath a tree, just playing acoustic guitar in a really lazy, undramatic fashion. The song should feel simple. It should feel like life is simple. I figured, right, let's get some acoustic guitar down on the track and let's see if that's going to bring not only some uplifting sense, but also maybe a more percussive, rhythmic sense to the track. And hopefully it's going to take us even closer to having something that has a bit more energy and a bit more cohesion to it. But what I found was when I was playing around with the acoustic guitar chords, and this is where production decisions really come into play, and small changes can make a big difference to the sound of certain things. I was finding that if I played the acoustic guitar with the open chords, which are D major, G major, E minor 7, and then occasionally there's G6 that comes in, if I just played them as open chords on the acoustic guitar in the standard positions, it sounded clunky. The changes between the chords were too big, particularly going from sort of the D major to the E minor 7. It felt like there was too much low end in the guitar. The chord voicings didn't sit right with me, and something just wasn't clicking. However, what I found was if I put a capo on the 2nd fret of the guitar, I can now play the D major from a C major shape. I can play the G major from an F major shape. And that brings those 2 chords much closer together. And then I can also play the E minor 7 in a much simpler, closer position. So we're not having such a big difference in tone between the chord changes. And what that does is it makes the track feel lighter. It makes the acoustic guitar feel more like a percussive part and less like this big sort of wall of sound, which I really didn't want it to be in the background of the track. And that small decision, just to add a capo and change the chord voicings, completely changed the feel of the acoustic guitar part. So once I figured out the voicings for the chords and I knew exactly what I wanted the part to be, time to record it. I had the V67 from Jay-Z mics on the acoustic guitar, as well as the Bee's Knees B87 again, and not really thinking too much about it at this stage, just putting them both up, and then maybe we'll pick one later on. Don't want to over-engineer at this point.
Say
And then, shit. Well, that changes things. Maybe we can do it without it. Let's try it. Now, what was interesting to me here was in the few moments before the string broke, I was feeling like this guitar sounds a bit too bright. It's a bit too jangly. I'm not totally sure that this is what I want in terms of the sound, but we're going to go with it anyway. We're not going to overthink it. And then the string broke. And then in some strange way that almost felt like it was meant to happen, the acoustic guitar part suddenly sounded right. Now that that top E string had broken off and it wasn't there anymore, suddenly the guitar wasn't as bright. It sounded a bit more, I don't want to say lo-fi, but it sounded a bit more like a kind of beaten up guitar that someone's found in the charity shop. And we're working even more now towards that sound of nostalgic warmth and the energy that we're talking about all the way through this, having that in mind. Just by breaking a string on an acoustic guitar totally changed the tone of it. And normally I would have gone and got another string and put another string on. But in this case, I was like, let's just roll with it and let's record all of the guitar tracks without that string and see what it sounds like. So we got the first acoustic guitar track down, and then I was like, I want this to sound a bit bigger and a bit wider because the drums are in mono on this track. We literally recorded them in a rehearsal room with an SM57 above the kit. And then I think maybe like a SM58 or something equivalent in the kick drum. Everything's quite mono in the middle, so I wanted these acoustic guitar parts to be the width and the thing that's going to bring a bit more 3D dimension to the track. So it would double the acoustic guitars left and right, kind of doing the same thing but playing off each other. I don't want them to be too tight. I want them to be a bit loose and it to have this sort of swaying feel, and that's going to help with the energy and the width of the song. So now the track's starting to shape up. It's starting to develop that kind of indie, much more organic feel to it than that original demo had, which was, as I said before, very cold and synthetic. This is much warmer, much more nostalgic. And consequently, I'm starting to feel like the melodic content in the track, the synths that play the lead melodies and stuff, are rubbing a little bit with that feel because they're all recorded on synths that were tracked in that initial recording session or that initial rehearsal session. It's starting to feel like it doesn't necessarily fit with that warmer vibe. So how can we bring that in? My feeling was like, what this might benefit from is some electric guitar doubling up those parts, playing a lead part. And that can be the focus, supported by those synths, which are very dreamy and sort of airy, wavy sounds. If they're in the background behind a much more direct sounding electric guitar, that could create a really nice, warm, nostalgic kind of indie feel. So the next step for me was to get some electric guitar down on this and have the electric guitar play those lead parts in this track. So I set up a pretty simple chain, which was my Squier Telecaster running through a Memory Man delay pedal into the Walrus Audio slower reverb pedal. And then that's running into a PV Classic 50, which is a sort of Fender twin style tube amp with a great sounding reverb, really good for this kind of clean, jangly tone. And then that's being mic'd up with an SM57 on one speaker, a T-Bone RB500 ribbon mic on the other speaker, and then another T-Bone RB500 ribbon mic in the room just to capture some general kind of room ambience and give us a bit more depth to that tone. So we've got pretty much all the core parts in now, and just to recap, this is the initial demo.
Drifting in the fields, and my two gone catching all the feels, and my soul run. You say that I'm strange, but that's okay, living's just the same. It's just harder since you went away.
And this is where it's at now after we've done a whole bunch of extra production on it. So now that we've got it to this point, we've built the production up. How do we get it over the line? How do we make it a finished track that's ready for release? Well, we're going to work on it some more. As I said earlier on at the top of this video, this footage was all shot in my production studio, the footage that you saw earlier on. And actually that guitar recording session was the last thing that I did, was record the electric guitar in that studio space. And then the next day I got an email from my landlord to say they were turning the studio into luxury apartments and we needed to get out ASAP, which is just typical of the industry and where it's at the moment and the challenges that we're all facing. But we still make it work. We still carry on. I'm here in my home studio, in my office studio content space, whatever you want to call it. I've been making content in this room for a long time. Long-term viewers of the channel will recognize this as the place that I normally make videos, but you may have noticed that I've added all this stuff in here, and this is not necessarily out of choice. It's just that I've had to find a place for all of this stuff that came out of the production space that I was working in. But anyway, we are going to finish this track and I want your help. So please drop me a comment below. Where do you think we should go next with this track? What do you think it needs? The next move I think for me is to bring the backing vocals in, edit it all together and get that vocal arrangement up to scratch. So maybe I'll make a video showing you guys exactly how I put the whole vocal production together and how I build a vocal production pretty much from scratch using the tracks that we have and piece that all together to make the finished production. But please, as I say, drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think this track needs. Let me know where you think we should go with it next, and make sure to subscribe because I will be dropping more videos just like this as we update this track, work on this track even further and get this from the demo to the done production. Stay tuned for that. Give this video a thumbs up before you go. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you next time.